At this point, we see the girls again, who are starving in the middle of their journey. Annette stops for a bit, and we even see that Sensei is feeling a bit hungry too, so he asks for some boiled tofu to eat. But since Annette doesn't have it, she gets intrigued by the mysterious food and promises to get it for the great adventurer. There's also the problem of figuring out the best place to stop before reaching their destination. According to the map, it'd be better to head to the nearest temple, as that's where adventurers usually go after facing the Dark Lord. However, Sensei doesn't want to go on this main quest, which makes it easier to find Seiken. Even though Tama knows it might be possible, she still can't hide her fear. After all, this world is too big to find someone they technically haven't even met. But Annette still wants to try for the sake of Sensei, who was sent to this land, making her feel a bit guilty for failing her big mystical task. Tama thinks this is just some weird excuse, but maybe she's starting to feel something for the protagonist, which Annette quickly dismisses as a lie. Annette says that thanks to Sensei, she realized all the mistakes she made in her job, so she really wants to fulfill his wish. Tama quickly reminds her that they're actually looking for Sensei's girlfriend, something Annette feels in her heart, but being a mystical guide, she has no choice but to act tough. So now, Tama cheers her on with a new resolve to help them as much as possible before reaching their village and explaining everything when they return to the temple without any trouble. After hearing this, Sensei doesn't scold the little one, assuring her that she's not a bad pet for returning to her owner. So he finally gives her the name Melos. Sensei, already feeling a bit sleepy, goes back to sleep while Annette keeps thinking about the problems she's facing by taking on this forbidden journey. But for little Melos, something feels off, and she becomes wary until she flees the area. The reason is a large red dragon, feared in this world for being one of the strongest creatures. However, before it attacks them, the dragon is stopped by the voice of a mysterious woman approaching with strange speech, seemingly communicating with the creature until it calms down. Only then does she ask the girls to leave the area as soon as possible because it's filled with monsters. It seems they've already suffered many casualties, but in reality, it was just someone with strange transportation methods. But the mysterious woman sees Sensei and quickly realizes he's an outsider from another world. She immediately prepares for battle because something about him makes her want to eliminate all the outsiders in front of her. With strong mana aura and powerful spells, the fight begins. Annette blocks the powerful beam to prevent it from killing Sensei. She tries her hardest because this woman is so strong, and even though they're injured, they know they have to do it for their master, defending him in every way because he won't do anything to save his own life. It's a tough mission because their enemy can control gravity in the area. Looking at their opponent a bit closer, Annette spots a strange symbol and quickly identifies the young woman's identity as the Dark Lord they've been facing, who cruelly decides to wipe out her enemies. But for Sensei, this is already more than enough, and he asks the Dark Lord to stop bothering them. Even though the Dark Lord hates outsiders, it doesn't give her the right to hurt others. Sensei bravely defends his friends, offering his life if necessary to save them. His enemy takes this lightly, and without fear, she pierces Sensei's heart with her arm, ending his life, which also frees the young women. Before she can say anything, the Dark Lord wants to reveal her name to the outsider before leaving, Waldelia. But this doesn't completely end Sensei, who, before dying, says a few words to assure Waldelia that he understands her hatred. This strange scene reminds Waldelia of a time in the past, when she, too, wanted to stab someone, even sending a letter to threaten her victim. It terrified the young woman because she was facing someone who truly understood her feelings. Not only that, he offered help as a psychologist, saying he'd listen to all her problems if needed. Before Waldelia gets even more confused, she calls her dragon to leave the place immediately because of the impression Sensei left on her. But this doesn't change the group's dire condition, where Melos, who observed from afar, bravely carries them to the nearest temple, transforming into a magic carpet. A woman who resembles Annette is forced to call all the priests in the area because there's an emergency, although it's not immediately clear what happened that night. The next day, they search the town's shops for poison, only to drink it in front of everyone like a true maniac. This prompts an explanation from Tama, to which Sensei assures her that they took great care of him the previous night. So he felt a bit weird and thought a good poison drink would make him feel normal again. From afar, we also meet their savior, Yasa, who tells us she doesn't know anyone named Seiken. More importantly, Yasa wants to know why Annette is traveling with an outsider, especially after mysteriously disappearing from her job. While this scares her a little, it also brings a bit of relief to her heart, because she always knew Annette was too innocent for such work. But this doesn't change the fact that traveling with an outsider is a mistake. In the end, they're all just as dirty as the rest. Another strange outsider approaches them, and her theory is quickly confirmed. But this strange guy can't just be ignored, as he tells them about his strange power that can create infinite coins and offers money to two beautiful elves nearby. Yasa quickly rejects the money, being fed up with strange outsiders. Even though Annette wants to explain how different Sensei is from the others, Yasa doesn't let her, convinced that if she stays with Sensei too long, it'll definitely end badly. However, Annette has a different view of Sensei, as he's the one who freed her and made her who she is today, leaving her in his debt. Only when Sensei approaches to ask for money, and more than that, does Annette give all the coins she has, making Yasa realize it's too late to warn about the danger. She then wants to know what special power Sensei has, but Annette honestly says he doesn't have any magic or special abilities in this world. Even so, he's very brave to face the Dark Lord to save them when they needed it most, which completely shocks Yasa. The fact that an outsider met the Dark Lord seems impossible since they just defeated her not long ago. It turns out to be true when they catch a glimpse of the demon's territory, where the throne and its king are completely destroyed, and his daughter, whom we recently saw, is suffering from losing the one she loved the most, making it more reasonable to hate outsiders and stop them. When Tama learns that there's no final mission left since someone quickly defeated the Dark Lord, she's overjoyed that they can all finally live in peace. The only thing left is to figure out who recently faced them, which also raises another question. If they defeated the Dark Lord of this world a week ago, how was Wald Elia recruited just a few days ago? Without the Dark Lord, there's no reason to come here, and they only have a depressed Sensei randomly damaging leaves because he's thinking about writing a bit. But since coming to this world, something in him has completely changed, and he doesn't find inspiration in what Annette offers as a rich source of creativity. However, when he hears that the boy doesn't want to write about him, something in the blonde breaks again. Even so, Sensei denies it when a wall appears, and he feels inspiration all over his body, making Annette a little worried. So, later, she gives him great armor for his lover because he's in danger if he meets the demon who pierced his chest again. Even though Sensei doesn't entirely dislike the feeling of being cramped, he has to stay alone for a while until his friends give him more protection, making him the center of a tourist attraction for kids. Moments later, Yasa shows up near him just to meet the same strange outsider she had to save. Even though she didn't like him at the time, she serves Yasa because she couldn't speak well with him in the past. That's when she reveals to Sensei that Annette has always been someone with a very pure heart, which definitely made him trust her deeply to this day. But the fact that she has an outsider by her side and that she might end up with him makes it very worrying. As a good friend, Yasa knows she has to do something, and what better way than to ask Sensei to kick him out of the group. But the young man knows he can't do that, and only Annette can decide whether to follow him or not. Unlike Yasa, who in Sensei's eyes is just a bird in a cage, Annette actually has a choice. While Yasa brushes off the boy just to convince him how little she trusts outsiders, everyone in the village sees a mysterious figure whose name is more specifically Suzuki. Yes, like the car brand. He's also responsible for defeating the Dark Lord a week ago. While he tells the village he can't stop staring at Yasa. That's when the outsider starts talking about how sad the life of an outsider is in this world because they're the only ones doing anything against evil, asking for a bit more power. Even so, he quickly takes over the entire town because he thinks he deserves to be governor, terrifying everyone in the area. But when our friend with infinite coins recognizes the girls who rejected him, we see that Suzuki immediately chases after the young women. After all, attacking outsiders isn't something easily forgiven, which quickly translates into a war that's about to erupt, where the village ultimately pays with fire. A fire that might now awaken Sensei's desire to write.